3, 2, 1.
You ready?
Listening to the Real Pineapple Podcast Network.
Good evening, everybody. Thank you so much for listening. This is the Real Pineapple. This is your humble host, Hunter, here. Hope you're all having a great evening. I've got a review here for the latest 20th Century Fox production, Ron's Gone Wrong, which is directed by actually 3 different people, which I was a little surprised to realize. But it's directed by Sarah Smith, Jean-Philippe Vine, and Octavio E. Rodriguez. Jean-Philippe Vine, this is his second film that he's directed. He directed Shaun the Sheep back in 2007, which, Shaun the Sheep is fucking wonderful if you haven't seen that. Sarah Smith is actually one of the writers on the film. She helped write Arthur Christmas and was a director on that, which, if you haven't seen Arthur Christmas, highly recommend. Octavio E. Rodriguez, this is his first film that he's directed. And then, what was the other director I was missing? I already talked about Sarah Smith, so she was a writer as well. So, here's the thing I'm going to say about this movie. I am very simple when it comes to my kids' films in one aspect. Any film that's going to really tell kids, hey, technology doesn't have to be the end-all, be-all. You should, still actually, talk to people and actually have human connections. I appreciate a film addressing that shit, especially for children, and really letting kids know, like, hey, yeah, your phone's really cool, but wouldn't it be crazy? You can actually put your phone down. I know that's nuts, but you can. And I really appreciate where this film comes from, because even seeing the trailers, it's very much, this company is very much Apple. I mean, you could say Google, but just when I think about people on their iPhones, I think this is more ripping off Apple. But the name of the company is called Bubble, and we go ahead and follow this kid, Barney Podolsky, who's played by Jack Dylan Grazer, who you, of course, know from It. Don't Tell a Soul, which I haven't seen. Actually, no, I did see Don't Tell a Soul. If you haven't seen it, recommend it. It's a fun little flick. And, of course, from Shazam. He's great in Shazam, of course, as well. But Barney is a very lonely kid. He is basically the one kid at his school that doesn't have one of these bubble bots. And the technology of the bubble bots was created by Justice Jesse Smith, who voices Mark, and it was actually cool to have. A brother going ahead and creating tech. Thank you for that. You, of course, know him from Detective Pikachu. You're gonna know him soon because he was in Jurassic World: Fallen Kingdom as well. Paper Towns, to name a few things. But the biggest compliment I can give this film is everyone as a voice actor really brought it. It didn't feel like anyone was phoning it in. I am very hit and miss on Ed Helms. He's one of those people that he can do something like Cedar Rapids, and I go, oh man, Cedar Rapids is great. But then he can do something like Vacation, and so I was very concerned. But I thought Ed Helms did a great job with this. He goes ahead and voices Graham Podolsky. He's a inventor who's very much hanging on by a thread, trying to go ahead and just have that one invention. And I really appreciate the fact that Barney is kind of trying to be his own person, but as most kids are his age, as most people are in general, he's just so unsure of himself and doesn't really know where to start. And the fact that everyone else has a bubble bot outside of him, he just feels fucking trapped, like he can't talk to anyone. It's actually really sad, and they do a really good job with this movie, I think, of letting kids know that it's okay to not be okay. Zach Galifianakis voices Ron, and of course, Zach Galifianakis from, I'll say the Joker. That he does play Joker at one point, but you know him from the Lego Batman movie, of course, playing Joker. You know him from oh my gosh, why can't I think of the name? I cannot think of anything today. Baskets, you know him from that, which is a very underrated and underappreciated show, which if you haven't watched, I recommend. Known from Missing Link, but all that to say, Galifianakis has become a really incredible voice actor, and it didn't sound like him at all. Like when I looked up who it was, I was like, really? Oh, that was Galifianakis. Okay, like he does a really great job of hiding his voice, so it feels like he really is playing the character. He's not just being Zach Galifianakis. And the relationship that Ron and Barney end up forming is so genuinely pure and sweet. The big gimmick, of course, if you've seen the trailers, is that Ron is broken. Basically, you find out that these bubble bots are always connected to the what's called the bubble network or iCloud, and and when the movie kind of presents it, it's one of those things that I definitely laughed very hard because I went, "Wow! If you're always constantly connected to that, shit, that is oh god, what are they doing?" And as the movie does go on, and we figure out why Ron is so special and what Ron can actually do. What's really funny is how quickly that script flips and the evil CEO is like, oh, I'll go ahead and I'll use everyone's bubble bot that's online to go ahead and try to spy on Barney and Ron. And you go, wow, that script flipped very quickly. And again, the movie is not being subtle in the sense where it talks about the evils of technology. But, and this is something I think that we need to have a discussion about. When you look at, and I won't go on a whole political rant, but I've talked about at length about Falcon and the Winter Soldier and about how people could not connect the giant fucking dots of, you know, Black Lives Matter to, oh my god, a Black Captain America. And it's the reaction that some ignorant, dumbass people had about having a Black Captain America, which is why we have movies like this where sometimes you need to fucking hammer the point home. And this movie really does hammer home the fact that, hey, technology is fucking awesome, but you need to be weary of it too. Like, don't just depend on technology to do every fucking thing. And I actually appreciate that message again being told to kids, because kids really need to hear that. Not Ron. Barney is a big old dork. He has a rock hammer set. That's something he gets for his birthday, and he's fucking happy with it. He's like, oh, I get to play rocks, right the fuck on. When you find out why he's such a fan of rocks, it's actually really sad. I actually went, oh shit, okay, this movie's getting a little real. But the one person I haven't mentioned in the main cast yet, or out of the main characters, is Donka, who is Graham's mother, and Barney's, of course, grandma, who's voiced by Olivia Colman. I don't recall Olivia Colman doing any voice work. I feel like she has, and I say it out loud, but I don't recall anything that I can think of off the top of my head where she's done voice work, and she's just fucking wonderful. It definitely sounds like Olivia Colman at points, but for the most part, she really hides her voice, and the character that she's playing in Donka is so random and so, like, eccentric. It's very Tex Avery at points too in the way that these characters move. So it definitely has some like visual aesthetic that you go, oh wow, that woke me up, or oh, like I found that really interesting. I think the art and the animation on this, it's very cloudy with a chance of meatballs, but I mean that as a compliment. It definitely has a storybook look to it, and it really, like, the animation really did have me very intrigued. They do a lot of stuff with Ron as his character design, because let's be real, since Ron's a robot, the robot can do essentially whatever the fuck it wants and whatever you kind of need it to do. So when Ron kind of starts flipping out and doing, you know, some crazy shit, I went, oh, I don't have a problem with this. I actually appreciate the fact the movie goes, we're just going to kind of go all balls out with this. As far as complaints, this is like an hour 47, so it's just a hair under 2 hours. I really didn't feel the length on this at all. I thought this was so incredibly well paced. There are a couple points where I think where it does slow down a little bit, but not enough to take me out of the film at any point. The way that Ron ends up talking to Barney, because Barney, since Ron isn't connected to the cloud continuously, he has to go ahead and basically teach him about himself. He doesn't just know everything about Barney like the other Bubble Bots do, the functioning ones do. Which, when you say that out loud, how fucking creepy is that? That a piece of tech would just know everything about you like that. That's creepy. So when Barney actually has to like teach Ron, I was sitting there kind of laughing, because I'm sitting there going, well, yeah, it's like inconvenience that you have to teach this robot, but isn't it creepier that the robot would potentially just know fucking everything? But I digress. That whole sequence, and it's of course told through a montage, but the way Barney and Ron interact as far as becoming friends, it's so incredibly sweet. And when we kind of get to the end of the film, as far as what the film is trying to say, and the film does have several themes. Don't be, so trusting of technology. Just because, someone puts something about you on social media, or you argued on social media, doesn't mean you can't be friends anymore. Like, there are multiple themes in this. Swallowing your pride and just saying you're sorry. Like, there are multiple points in this film where the film gets a little real. And I think for kids especially in that, like, I'd say like 10 to 13-year-old age group. Because this is something, I watched this last week, and there were definitely some kids in there, but there were definitely like some, 14, 15-year-olds in there. And I didn't see anyone really on their phones. Like, people were actually paying attention to this. And as I was kind of hanging out in the lobby, I was hearing like positive things, not like, oh, that was boring. Like, people were actually digging what they saw. There is a sequence where Barney ends up in the woods, and that sequence actually was incredibly intense. You'll know it when you see it. The other thing I will say too, Barney, of course, ends up having a crush on this girl named Savannah, who's played by Kylie Cottrell. I don't know who this is, but she does a really good job of her voice acting. This is like her first big role. She's done some Disney Channel voices, so hey, right on. But she does a really good job with this, and her and Barney's relationship, when you kind of realize what happened, it's actually really sad, but it's a really good message for kids. And the last thing I'll say, last character I want to bring up real quick, Ricardo Hurtado plays this guy named Rich Belcher, who is a big, he's a wannabe social media influencer. And he's done a couple things here and there. He was in School of Rock. He did a guest spot on The Mick. Not a whole lot of stuff, but him and Barney's relationship is really interesting. And where the film lands on that was something I love that. I love that you put this in here. And again, it's a really great message for kids. Kind of getting to the end of my final thoughts, I thought the climax of this movie, it does get a little silly. Like, even for an animated kids film, there is some stuff I went, all right, I'm trying to give you some rope, but that's stretching believability even for myself. But it's still something that I don't know when this comes out available to buy, but I'll buy this. Like, this was such a pleasant surprise. There is a whole gag, or there's a couple gags of Barney having to hide Ron that gets so much into fun slapstick and just the way you can use animation for comedy. I had a lot of fun with those sequences. It was kind of like a Splinter Cell, but but with this insane, not functioning robot. But Yeah, I'm gonna land. Oh, where do I want to land on this? I saw this at full price and I did not feel ripped off, but I'm gonna go. I'm gonna go B plus on this. I think a B plus is fair for this. This is definitely something I think kids will watch. This will be something that adults watch and go, man, I really enjoyed that. Shout out to Henry Jackman, who of course who's done scores for Falcon and Winter Soldier, Captain America: Civil War, Extraction, to name a few, 21 Bridges. But music is great here. It's a very inspirational soundtrack when it needs to be. As far as the score, it's very somber when it needs to be. Jackman just hits every single note, literally and figuratively, that he needs to with the music. But yeah, absolutely enjoy this movie. B plus, it is well worth your time. But everyone, Ron's gone crazy. What did you think of it? Let me know in the comments. You can follow yours truly. Ron's Gone Wrong. What am I talking about? I keep calling it Ron's Gone Crazy and I don't know why. Ron's Gone Wrong. But everyone, what did you think of it? Let us know in the comments. You can follow yours truly on the Twitter at jhunterrealpineapple. You can follow Scott on Twitter at Nearman1st. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. You can find us on SoundCloud, Apple and Google Podcasts, Podbean, Stitcher and iHeartRadio, Spotify, Amazon Music, and TuneUp, to name a few spots, at The Real Pineapple. You can follow me on Twitch. I will be hopping on this month at some point. I don't know what I'm streaming, but I'm streaming something. Damn it. You can follow me on Twitch at twitch.tv/jhunterrealpineapple. And don't forget to like both our Facebook pages at Real Pineapple Games and The Real Pineapple. Thank you so much again for listening. We'll have reviews up here soon for The Harder They Fall. What else? Dune. I need to watch Dune still. As well as The French Dispatch and Red Notice. I'm excited to get in on those. But everyone, thank you so much for listening. Please stay safe out there. Get your COVID shot if you haven't yet. Please, for Pete's sake, wear a mask, take care of each other, and we will talk to you soon.